Welcome back to One Foot In. I'm Ohana, he's Winn, and man, it feels good to be back in this studio in front of this camera, talking to all of you about some college football, because we had a weekend. We had quite the Saturday of games, and I'm very excited to start getting into these games, but anything you want to say before we do that?
Before we do that, our apologies for having to be on Zoom and then having to not do a podcast. There are these things called natural disasters that are wreaking havoc over where we live. Prayers and thoughts to everybody affected. Hope you guys are doing well. We are back, and we will hopefully not have to deal with any more of that. But again, when Mother Nature knocks, you have to answer. So anyways, before we start this, I'm just going to give off a little bit of what I was doing this weekend.
Oh, go ahead.
We were split up. Where were you, my boy?
I was at home in Miami.
At the 305.
The 305.
Hanging out with Mr. Bull, Mr. Pitbull, actually, if you know who that is.
I
decided, you know what? I'm tired of being in this good old state of the FLORIDA when there's all this rain and stuff. Let me take a little trip. Let me go see a place I've never seen before. So I found myself in Neyland Stadium.
Wow.
Neyland Stadium on a Saturday night. Well, I got there on a Friday. Shout out Knoxville, Tennessee.
Shout out.
We're going to get into that in a little bit.
We will.
And so I'm just telling you, that's where I was. Hey. If you saw that video on the Instagram reel, taken by your boy truly. But Eitan. The game that was big was news, and it did not disappoint.
Oh,
it did not disappoint.
It
What game am I talking about?
It was the number 2 team. It was the number 3 team going up at it.
What a classic.
What a classic. It was Oregon, Ohio State. And before I even touch what happened in this game, I want to say to Oregon, thank you for proving me right about something this season. Thank you, because I have one lock of the week correct, but I had 2 wrong, and I had so many teams let me down. USC, we'll get to you, because you're not off the hook.
Oh, Miss, we'll get to you too.
Oh, Miss, we're definitely getting to you. Oh, and we have some individuals we're gonna get to you for being absolutely garbage at football. But Oregon, that's not you. You start off the season tough. It wasn't great, and I want to get to why.
I'm loving the energy right now.
No, because Oregon deserves this. Because I said you're gonna win the Big Ten. I said you're gonna be the 2 seed. No, I did say you're gonna lose to Ohio State in the regular season.
But guess what?
But guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I said you're gonna beat them when it matters.
Yeah.
I said you're gonna beat them, and I've been your supporter, so it doesn't matter if I said you were going to lose. What you did is win. And I want to start at the very end with that final sequence because what in the world was that? What was going on? Listen, I thought I was cooked in that moment. I thought it was over for me. I thought Oregon was going to lose. Well, not over for me because I would have been right on my prediction and Oregon would have played a hell of a game.
Yeah, we would have been happy with that.
Yeah, it would have been a great performance of Oregon. But Ohio State has the ball, and Will Howard, who's had a good game thus far, he's played really well.
Good stat line.
Yeah, good stat. It was a clean game. They're driving. He and Emeka Egbuka connect on a 26-yard play. They get Ohio State into comfortable field goal position at the end there. It looks like it'll be an easy field goal. It's 32-31 at this point. So, 3 points would win them the game. And then a few plays later, I don't even remember at this point, offensive pass interference on Jeremiah Smith, which feels like we never see those called, especially in those situations.
You know what? And shout out real quick to the referees for giving that call. You know what? If you see it, call it. I feel like we're getting way too lenient on the OPIs, dude. Guys are running routes, they're and it's like, dude, come on, what is that? Shout out.
Let them play. Let them play. But if it's obvious and if it changes the game,
that one was.
Call it. Throw that flag. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Let it out there.
Turns it into a 3rd and 20. Now, Oregon gets 12 men on the field in one of these later plays. After that, by the way, this is all like within 5 plays. This is not a lot of plays of difference. But Oregon has 12 men on the field in one of these plays, second to last play, which takes time off the clock. The clock does not reset after Ohio State runs a play with the 12 men on the field for Oregon, which leads to the final play of the game where Will Howard takes the snap and nothing's there, so he scrambles, he runs out, and he doesn't see the clock or something because he slides with zeros on the clock, and the game is over. That's it. The game ended, which, oh my goodness.
And I feel like we haven't seen this a lot in the past, but Iamaleava did it against Arkansas 100%. Too. And you're like, what is going on? You guys are game managers.
Yeah.
You have to know. You have to know. Dude, if it's not there, why are you even running? Well, I mean he's trying to get the field goal.
Get down.
Just get down. You got to get down, dude.
He ran for way too long there.
Way too long, dude. You're not going to, dude, like, I don't understand what was going on in his head, man. I don't understand.
Does not make sense, but that's not everything that happened in the game. Obviously, that was just the final sequence. So I want to give some credit to two guys, a connection actually, that we talked about earlier in the season as what Oregon would have to develop if they were going to be what everyone thought they'd be in the preseason, which was a great team.
Yep.
That's Dylan Gabriel and Evan Stewart.
Shout out.
Dylan Gabriel, by the way, 341 yards and 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
He's looking phenomenal. And he's such an impact player for that team.
Such an impact player.
And, dude, Oklahoma right now, poverty,
Oh,
dude.
my goodness.
The fact that they're like, oh, we're going to get this guy out of here so Jackson Arnold, who's not even playing anymore, can come in and be like, dude, the whole Oklahoma team, they got to get fired. But tell him what Dylan Gabriel's doing on his team, which treats him way better.
Listen, he's in a way better situation. And Evan Stewart, his guy, his receiver that he needed to have that connection with, 7 receptions, 149 yards, and a touchdown. So we're seeing that develop. The run game is there with Jordan James, 115 yards and a touchdown. And this is a quick little side note, because I want to give this guy a shout out, because I kind of want him to be one of the characters on this show, just because his name is absolutely electric. And that's the kicker for Oregon, who, won them the game, obviously, with a game-winning field goal. Atticus Sappington. What a name, Atticus. You're awesome. You have a great name. You hit a game-winning kick.
Shout out to you, man.
Shout out to you. Really, one quick point.
Let's hear it.
Serious point about why was Oregon struggling early in the season? What was going on? And I guess it's just a theory, but it's kind of piggybacking off the conversation we had last week, talking about the transfer portal and Alabama losing to Vanderbilt and why we're seeing these things happen. Maybe Oregon just wasn't gelled as a unit. They had think about it. You had a guy in Bo Nix, a 30-year college football veteran in Bo Nix, exit the building.
Jumped around schools too. He wasn't like an Oregon staple guy. You bring a new guy in,
But Bo Nix was there for 2 years, got the system by last year when they looked really good, so he was already in there. And then he leaves, and that's a lot of experience leaving. And by the way, other guys left. You have Bucky Irving, who's been really good for the Bucs, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. He's out. And so there's new characters in the building, especially at quarterback, which is the most important position. And so, maybe it takes time. And they won the games that were close. Which Boise State, we were like, oh, they barely beat Boise State. Boise State.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. It's like we were kind of ragging on that Boise State. Oh, they only won by 10. It's like, dude, you look at that now. You've got the Grim Reaper of a running back. You got Michael Myers
back there. 100%.
And people are like, oh, well, Gabriel hasn't made the best decisions. Blah, 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 blah. Dude, he looked so sharp. Yeah. I was watching the highlights back Sunday morning I was exhausted on a Knoxville couch, and I was just watching all that back. Man, he just steps himself up so well in the pocket. His decision-making is there. And, dude, like you said, Evan Stewart, those are two guys that weren't on that squad last year that are now they're the savants of this team right now. They have experience. They look great. Dan Lanning's a great coach. That place was fired up. And, dude, shout out to Ohio State and Oregon for giving us a great game. That was a great game. And Ohio State did not play bad at all. Neither quarterback threw an interception. Their completion rate was both pretty high. Well-rounded football game. 31-32, but the defenses also had their moments. I was really, really, really impressed with this game. And I think that, the Big Ten right now is awesome to watch.
Oh, my God.
USC Penn State game, which we're going to talk about in a second, was... dude, that was an action-packed, hard-hitting game. That was awesome. Down to the wire, overtime. Dude, I'm loving what I'm seeing from out in the Big Ten. I think that those people have got to be happy with what they've done when it comes to everything like that. And I see you over there pulling up the Big Ten standings. I'm pulling up the Big Ten standings too. Shout out Indiana.
Shout out
Indiana.
Super shout out Indiana. My one lock of the week hit. Indiana. I'm with you, Indiana. Shout out to you.
USC now 1-3 in conference play in the Big Ten.
Disaster. They were not ready for that.
We're gonna get to that. Do you have anything else you want to touch on?
Really quickly, actually, I do. I want to touch on Ohio State side and not just the final sequence. This is kind of a holistic conversation about Ohio State, specifically their head coach, Ryan Day, who feels like for years now we've heard Ohio State fans complain about Ryan Day because he couldn't beat Michigan when Harbaugh had that team rolling. And look, he's 1-7 against teams ranked in the top 5, which obviously for a program like Ohio State, that's not good. Now, I will say, and I'm pretty sure this includes the playoffs, this record, the 1-7, the college football playoff, which would include that loss to Georgia a few years ago with Stroud at quarterback, and Marvin Harrison Jr. leaves that game with a concussion. I think they would have won that game if Harrison doesn't get hurt. I mean, they literally lost on a missed field goal at the end. But still, 1-7 against teams ranked in the top 5, especially when a lot of those losses come against your biggest rival in Michigan. I don't want to say you fire him yet, because obviously he's been really good there in terms of that program's been really good under him. No national championships, but still they're Ohio State. But we got to wait to see what will this team be by the end of the season? Like, what happens?
Well, it's a really hard thing because, man, this is exactly what happened with Jim Harbaugh when he was in Michigan. Yeah. They're like, oh, you can't beat Ohio State. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Yeah.
They gave him the time. Dude, he was getting called. His spot was getting called for a lot. Michigan decided to keep him, and he wins him a national championship. Shout out Connor Stallions.
Shout out Connor.
Might have helped him a little bit.
That little doc
though,
on
I mean,
Netflix.
he built a great team.
Yeah.
He built a great team. But the problem is, and dude, I mean, I'm going to kind of go a little back and forth here, man. But, the Ohio State, you got to get it figured out. You don't really have excuses anymore, man. I mean, you got Quinshon Judkins as your kind of backup running back, who I personally think they should be utilizing way more. You got to mix them in. Why don't you put Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in on similar plays? Yeah. You could run and throw with them. Doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about right now. I think the Ryan Day effect, dude, it's really wild because if you look at some of these programs, 99% of programs in college football, they have a coach and they have the record and they have the seasons they have. And they're like, oh my God, we're so here, blah, 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 blah. But then when it's like, oh, we can't win a national title.
Yeah, which is the standard there. It is what it is.
But, dude, that's the standard, and, you got to respect it. Also, that's also the team that pays some of the most NIL and booster money to everything. So if you're dumping as much money as you into it, you're going to want to get the result out of it. Yeah. They're not playing for a playoff spot. They're not.
And one quick difference, really quick, before we move on to the rundown, between him and Harbaugh in terms of the development of the teams that they had. Harbaugh, it took a while for Harbaugh to get that quarterback in J.J. McCarthy to where, and just to build that school up. Ohio State has been a wagon for as long as I can remember, really. I do not remember a bad Ohio State team.
Yeah.
As long as I've been watching college football.
It's been wild.
Yeah, and he's always had high-level quarterback play for the most part. He's had the Justin Fields. He had C.J. Stroud. So,
great receivers.
I mean,
Olave.
The receiver factory
Smith,
at this point.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Marvin Harrison. Ibuka.
Yeah.
Just
Smith and
Jigba.
Everybody
comes from Ohio State. So Ohio State, Bama, LSU, those are the teams. But
yeah.
I think we'll know a lot more, obviously, as you could say that about every team and every coach, but we'll know a lot more by the end of the season, and they still have some games coming up.
Yeah, they do.
So
I'm really excited to see how the Big Ten plays out.
100%.
And I mean, Penn State, we're going to talk about that right now in the rundown, but Penn State is legit. They're legit.
They seem to be. Yeah.
They seem to be legit. And they play Penn State. They play Michigan. You still can't count out Michigan because that game is never it's rarely a blowout game. And so I still think I don't have any doubt in my mind personally that Ohio State won't find a way into the playoff. I really don't. Even if they lose to Oregon twice, you know what I mean?
I think as long as they run the table everywhere else, I think
they may not even make we'll get into that, but they may not even make the conference championship game. They may not even need to. You know what I mean?
Possible.
If you're going to only lose to Oregon and maybe one other team, dude, what are you going to say? So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about in that game?
I think it's time to head to the rundown.
All right. Let's get into the rundown.
Let's go.
All right. Let's get to our rundown here. We were just talking about it. Penn State, USC. I mean, okay. First off, let's just say this. Let me say this.
Say it.
I'm putting that away because I'm starting to get a little animated in here. Penn State USC being a Big Ten game being played in Los Angeles is absurd. That is absurd. In and of itself, that's insane. Watching Gary Danielson and Musburger is it Musburger? Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Give, on CBS talking about a Big Ten matchup between Penn State and USC is absurd. If you went in the time machine and told people that 8 years ago, 5 years ago, they'd be like, what are you talking about? That's exactly what I'm talking about.
We were literally watching a 2007 Florida Gators Tennessee Volunteers match today with Danielson and him on the call, and it's what it should be.
It's so sketch. It should be the SEC. You remember my complaint courtroom about that.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is how great of a game that was. That was tooth and nail, back and forth. And both of those teams, man, they both looked good. Let me just say real quick, you know exactly what name I'm going to say right now.
Say
Tyler Warren.
Absolutely.
What was going on right there? And, dude, the Penn State offense for a long time, and I am 100% to blame for this as well, has been like, okay, you can have a great defense, but you can't play offense.
Yeah.
What they were calling was really fascinating. The trick plays, they were moving the ball around, they were doing all these different kind of snaps. They had a play where Tyler Warren snapped it in the left tackle position, snapped it, then runs a fly route.
Yeah.
Okay, snaps it to a receiver. The receiver then throws it to Aller, who's behind a bubble screen. Then Aller just bombs it out in the back. Tyler Warren jumps over a guy and catches it. I'm like, what am I watching? What am I watching? So, that game was electric. Tyler Warren, do you have that stat line up for me? Let's hear
17 receptions, tied an FBS record for tight ends.
Wow.
224 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's a stat line. That's it. That's that's crazy.
This guy's 257 pounds from Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Shout out
Mechanicsville. Out there making USC defenders look like little boys on him, dude. The fact that but in fairness, there were times where USC you're like, dude, what are you doing? This guy's 12 receptions already. They're gonna go back to him. Can you play defense? I'm watching. Doesn't matter. I want to hear what you got to say about this game.
I mean, yeah, Tyler Warren, what in the world? Drew Aller, buddy. Dear God, dude, what was going on in this one? What a salad. If you have not seen this salad, 30 of 43, 391 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're like, wow, yeah, okay. That's a great game. 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
what in the world?
He had only thrown, 1 or 2 leading up to this game. So, was shocking.
He's just throwing interceptions out here.
Letting it ride.
Penn State, hello, number 3 ranked. Penn State, another team I believed in you at the start of the season as well. Hello.
Shout out Tyler Warren for 1 completion for 9 yards as well.
Shout out QB.
But dude, yeah.
Like what? Listen, Penn State. Do I owe you an apology? No, I believed in you at the start of the season.
I owe you an apology.
Well, I was sort of talked out of you a little tiny bit by this guy.
That's not your. Yeah, it was my fault.
Yeah, talked out of you just a bit, but listen, I believed in you at the start of the season. I'm back in. I'm all the way back in. You better believe it. This is an overtime game, by the way. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, but I don't even know if we said
it was. Penn State was down 14 in the second half. They came back 3 times to tie it in the second half. Drew Aller again, that stat line, but he made the throws when it mattered. He won the game. USC, you're 3-3 now. You're kind of fried. We believed in you, and you were wrong.
I think they're cooked. I don't think they can make the playoffs.
No, they're super cooked this season.
You want to know why? I'll tell you right now why. 2 numbers. This is all you need to know. 2 numbers. USC defense, sacks 0. Tackles for loss, 1.
Listen, we thought the defense was better this year. We talked about that earlier.
60 minutes of football, 1 tackle for loss.
Yeah.
How are you going to win? Dude, I'm not saying that Penn State was crazy. Penn State had 1 sack, 6 tackles for loss. 1 tackle for loss. Like, bro, what do you expect to happen? Yeah. And it's 2 guys on a half tackle. Bro, what are you supposed to do? But you're lucky that Drew Aller was throwing you the ball.
Oh, my God.
Because then that game would have been blown way out of proportion. Yeah. But, dude, Miller Moss also had a pick that was not great either.
Miller Moss, I've got some bad news for you, pal. I fear Miller. And I hate to say this because I actually kind of like you.
I like him too.
I think you're pretty good at the college level, but I fear you are not the next great Lincoln Riley NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Even if
next season.
Even if they don't all pan out to be superstars in the NFL, even though most of them are really good. But yeah, you're not one of those guys. So I don't know. It's pretty unfortunate for you. Unfortunate for USC belief and predictions. But Penn State, welcome to the big show, I guess. You've got, who does Penn State have?
Is Penn State legit?
What is legit? What is legit?
No,
what is legit? I don't think they're not winning a natty. They're not winning a natty, but they're making the playoff. Yeah.
But are they? But okay,
they will compete.
But are they going to be in the playoff and then have be 7.5 point underdogs? Because that's not legit.
I don't think so. I think they I think
Do you think that they're going to be an underdog in any of the games they play this season? Maybe this game.
Yeah, Ohio State they'll be an underdog,
but it's
and they'll lose that one close.
It's in Penn State. They're winning. You know how that's that. You know how that gets, dude.
That is true.
They're going to be going nuts.
I really believe in Ohio State as a whole.
Okay.
I think they win all their other games. They have Wisconsin, Washington, Purdue. Purdue, by the way, Oregon, you're playing Purdue on Friday night. That's sneaky.
I'm not worried, dude. I'm not worried.
But
Illinois has been fraudulent, which also, remember when we were talking about Nebraska all the time? And I was like, who's Nebraska? Yeah. Figure it out, buddy.
Yeah.
You're cooked. Big Ten? Big
Shout
Ten
out.
left you in the back seat.
Shout out.
Indiana said, what's up, bro?
Shout
They're
out.
leading the conference with Oregon and Penn State.
Out Indiana. Let's go.
Dude, everybody was talking mad smack about Indiana, too. They were low-key one of my sleeper teams. Not you. Somebody's putting them on their lock. So okay. Yeah, my question.
Yeah.
Legit? What do you think that they're one of the best 5 teams in college football right now?
Right now, yeah, they have to be right now.
No,
absolutely right now.
People. What I'm saying is,
no.
Are they better than Texas?
Not the
Georgia?
people. No, not Texas. Georgia, you can argue. Georgia.
You think Penn State's better than Georgia now?
I think the way Georgia's playing right now.
What do you think if they played?
I think Georgia would beat them. I think Georgia would. Yeah, I don't trust Penn State as a serious
3 touchdowns is
contender.
not fair.
I don't trust them. Well, you know what? Honestly, I can't say that they beat them by 3 touchdowns the way they're playing right now.
Yeah,
if it's the playoff and it's Georgia Penn State, I think that's a different situation.
Yeah.
And Georgia would win that game.
Yeah.
But the way Georgia's playing right now, you beat Mississippi State by 10 points. Mississippi
They
State.
were up by a bunch though in the Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
But still, don't let that happen.
Don't let that happen.
Their offense is terrible.
And then Kirby's pushing Van Buren after the game. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, Kirby Smart and he apologized, or he said he reached out to him and said it was an accident and all that. But dude, come on. You're shoving the Mississippi State quarterback who you only beat by 10 points. By the way, had a day. He had a day. Michael Van Buren had it.
Shout out.
But yeah, I don't trust him as a serious contender. They're gonna lose to Ohio State. They're gonna win the rest of the regular season games. They're gonna be in a playoff. So Penn State, listen, I can't complain about you right now, but
okay, you may not be able to complain about them. But a team that I can complain about.
Let them know. Oh, put the hater shades on. Honestly, I'm putting the hater shades on. This is double hate on this team.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh my goodness.
Now, look. My first playoff bracket did not have Alabama in it. It did not have Alabama in it. And you know what? I saw the future, and I still was like, in my second one, I was like, oh, I think they'll find a way to sneak in, and I'm keeping these on.
Yeah, keep them on.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, dude? I saw the way they played against USF, and I was like, it's early, it's a new thing, whatever. But again, those are fundamental issues of you're not able to score enough, you're not able to defend enough, just things like that. And I'm like, okay, it's early in the season, they'll figure it out, they'll get it rolling. Then they make Georgia in the first half, look like literally an elementary team, like varsity is playing not even JV, the middle school team,
them in that
and you're just like, okay. I was wrong.
Yeah,
I was wrong. And they stuck that game out. They still got that game out of the way. Which, by the way, if that game was in Athens, I don't know if any of that was going on.
I have a take about that game.
But anyways, dude, okay, then I was like, okay, you know what? You guys are throwing punches. You guys are doing this. You're doing that. Okay, you guys still got you probably have a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they lose to Vanderbilt, and we said I was at the Vandy Stadium. Shout out. My zip code, which I was there 2 years ago, but doesn't matter. I was like, okay. I don't like people tearing Alabama because Vanderbilt actually won that game. They outplayed them in that game. Now, you could say, why is Vanderbilt outplaying Alabama? That's a different thing. But I was just like, okay, maybe you drop a game and like you said, you think they're going to come back. But dude, the South Carolina game, I have no excuses for, and I'm done. I'm done. My stock in Bama is gone. Because, dude, Alabama was giving them every reason to try to win that game, especially at the end of it.
Oh my goodness.
And South Carolina... Yeah.
Put them on. Keep taking the ball.
I was watching this game in a diner in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I was drinking mimosas. I was feeling good. I'm 21 years old. I can do that. Shout out to me. Anyways, dude, I'm watching this game, and I'm sitting there going, what is going on? What is going on right now? It's like, okay, I literally don't even remember everything in the end because it was everything. Like, they get an onside kick. They recovered an onside kick, and then they didn't score, and I'm just like, dude, this is ridiculous. Beamer ball. Bye-bye, you're done. They got destroyed by Kentucky, too, didn't they? South Carolina destroyed Kentucky. Dude, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
Nothing makes sense.
You know what does make sense?
What makes sense?
Alabama is not the Alabama that they were. I'm not saying that forever they're going to suck, but they are not the Alabama that they were. They just weren't. And South Carolina, you need to figure out how to win that game, and I don't care about anything. Shane Beamer, you have to figure out a way to win that game. You had every opportunity to, and you did not.
when you say every opportunity, they literally scored a touchdown and went for 2 to tie it up at 27 all, and they didn't get the 2. And then they recover an onside kick, which, like, what are the odds of that even happening? Insane.
It hit 2 guys of Alabama in the chest.
It was not like a good onside kick type thing. It was Alabama fully botched the recovery. Pure luck. They have the ball. And then Lenore Sellers throws an interception to Damani Jackson, and the game is over.
Dude, he was floating it over the end zone, too. You remember that? They had these chances where he's wide open in the end, and he got kind of hit as he threw 10 yards over the end zone.
Listen, not great.
God,
Jalen Milroe.
I said I was like, you still think he can win the Heisman? You said
he
yes,
can't
and now
anymore.
it's done. So you won't even be sniffing the top 10 in my opinion.
2 picks, 209 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. What are you doing? After that loss last week to Vanderbilt, like you mentioned, I thought they would come out and reestablish themselves as a great team, a dominant team. That didn't happen. And you said this isn't the same Alabama. I wonder what changed. Spoiler alert. Their head coach changed. And I like Kalen DeBoer. I'm a Kalen DeBoer fan.
I like him too.
I think he's a really good coach, and I think this program will be fine long-term with him as head coach. Right now, he needs to tighten the ship because things could get ugly. Bama blew a 14-0 lead in this one to allow South Carolina to even, make it a game. They literally, a final drive game. Come on, man. You can't do that. The next 3 games
for who? Bama?
For Alabama.
They go to Knoxville, Tennessee.
It is what seems like a gauntlet. What seems like for this Alabama football team will be impossible. They go to Tennessee, like you said. They host Missouri, which we both are not in on Missouri, but Missouri won last week.
If I had
on
2
Saturday.
Shades, I could put
Missouri.
When we talk about that.
If Alabama loses to Missouri, Alabama, we're gonna have to start a new segment for you about something ridiculous.
We might have to do like a just 5-minute rant.
We might have to do a new conference alignment, and you're out of the SEC if you lose that one. And then you're going to Death Valley to play LSU,
which you won't win. You will not win. LSU
game. By the way, I don't know how they beat. That game was crazy.
That game was wild.
That game was insane.
And dude, Ole Miss, you piss me off.
Ole Miss,
so much.
Oh my goodness,
you piss me off.
I don't even have time for Ole Miss today.
We're not even going to talk about you. We're not talking about you.
You're
because
out. You're out.
I came off.
Keep the haters.
Why do I keep taking these off? Because I get so fired up about it. I get so fired up about it that I just want to throw it all away. Dude, this isn't even what we're really talking about right now, but I'm just going to give it a second of time. Yeah. Because I said, Ole Miss, you're probably going to go, you're going to get it back figured out, and you didn't get it back figured out. You never got it figured out, and I don't even think you ever had it figured out. I don't think you ever had it figured out, and guess what? Kentucky's terrible. Kentucky's terrible. And they beat you. They made you look bad. And you know why they made you look bad? Because they are bad.
Bang. By the way, Alabama, before we move on to the next segment, November 16th, 2 p.m. Alabama, I just named the next 3 games you have. That 4th game, watch out because Mercer is coming to town. And with the way you were playing football, upset alert. Just saying.
Dude, I'm going to say this too before we hop off of this. This is South Carolina has to figure out how to win these games that they get themselves in. They continue to do this. They continue to get there, and then they can't just finish it. Just finish it.
Finish the job.
But dude, I'm seeing you in Norman, Oklahoma. In what day is it? Today's Tuesday. Okay, so I'm going there on Saturday at 12:45 p.m., which you got to be kidding me. I went to Norman, Oklahoma last year. They played UCF. It was 11 a.m. their time. It was ridiculous. 12:45 p.m. Unbelievable. Ridiculous. Do I like it? No. So I'm going to sit out in a Norman, Oklahoma heat and watch you play. And you know what? You better not disappoint me again. I'm not rooting for you at all. You got me wrong if you think I'm rooting for you. And Oklahoma, you need to get an offense. You need to get an offense.
They're not relevant.
You notice why we're not talking about that? Because you give a. Figure it out.
Because you're garbage.
It doesn't matter. You need to get an offense. But, dude, I will be at that game, and I am not anticipating a great game.
No.
Shane Beamer, I am mad at you because you – okay, he's probably more mad at himself than I'm mad at him.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. And if he's not, then –
if he's not, then you got to go. Anyways.
Well, we talked about the Bama-Tennessee game. Let's jump into
Tennessee, Florida.
Oh, my God.
All right. I can take these glasses off now, even though I'm about to put them back
They're
on.
They're
coming back on in a second.
Dude, I'm honestly, I think, just not even going to pick the laptop up anymore because I don't. You know why?
I'll take care of the laptop stuff.
Because I was there.
Ooh. That should tell you what we're talking about now. We're talking about the Tennessee Volunteers beating the Florida Gators 23-17 in overtime. And Go
It's
ahead.
so crazy because there's so much I can say about this game. And there's also, like, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. So here's where I'm going to start it. Tennessee, 14.5-point favorites in this game. Now, hold on a second. Did I think Florida was going to cover? Yes. Did I win money on the bet on that Florida was covering? Yes, I did. Now, did I think that it was going to go to overtime down to the wire? Yes, I did.
Oh.
Because I had to write a game story preview on it, and I said two things were going to happen.
Wow.
Tennessee was going to blow Florida out, or Florida was going to go down to the wire with them because Tennessee's not real. And guess what? Tennessee's not real. Tennessee's not real. And, dude, I don't care about anything. He was Nico the Freako against who? Furman. NC State. Guess what happened at NC State? Awful.
Yep.
Awful. Nico Iamaleava is never again called
Not
Freako.
this year. Not
Never.
this year.
No, not this year. He cannot retain the title
No, he
anymore.
has a new nickname, actually, if you want to.
Tweako.
Tweako.
You're Tweako.
You're Tweako.
Because you get in the pocket and you start tweaking. You start tweaking. Now, is it all your fault? No. I think that the offense is still way too limited. I don't know why Heupel is not giving you just full reins, full leash to go anywhere. Okay, whatever. The reason I bring up them being favorites in that game, this is a night game at Neyland to the Florida Gators, who have looked atrocious in half the games they've played this season. They beat Stanford 45-7. They look terrible in that game, and I don't care. Watch it back. They look terrible against Miami. They look terrible against Texas A&M. Then they beat who? Mississippi State.
Gave
Awful.
up. No, they have 240 yards on the ground.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. And then they play UCF and beat UCF.
Who turns out UCF is bad.
UCF sucks.
Yeah.
Like, who did they beat earlier? TCU in that weird game?
Beat TCU.
But TCU sucks, too, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Okay. This is what I'm going to go Tennessee, and then I'm going to go to Florida.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm hogging this from you.
No.
Tennessee, like, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me because you have all the talent in the world. You've got Sampson, you've got Iamaleava, you've got good receivers, you've got McCoy, you've got Squirrel White. You have a pretty good O-line. Or do you? Because I don't know. I don't remember how many times Florida sacked Tennessee, but it was a lot more than it should have been.
Oh, yeah.
To a team that has the most sacks they've had this season is 5, which is not bad, but they gotta be better than that. But dude, Tennessee is not real. They are not a real team. And I was in Knoxville leaving that game, and people were so, like, animated and happy about them winning. And I'm like, hold on a second.
Not a good win.
That is a horrible win.
Not a good
that
win.
should have been a loss. And now here's
100%.
where I turned the page. Florida was in the red zone. It was either 4 or 5 times in the first half and got 0 points from it.
Yep.
They got a field goal, and guess what? That wasn't in their own red zone. Iamaleava was throwing back. He fumbled. Okay, they were going down the field. They fumbled. Tennessee fumbled. Florida gets the ball. And then, dude, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me how Florida cannot score any of those right there.
It makes
Graham
sense to
Mertz
me.
on the one, fumbles on the one. So then they eventually get a field goal. There's just no play called. They're not getting at what they have to get. And then right before halftime, you get another turnover in a big spot. Okay, you can get points right here. And what do? You kick a field goal, and it goes in. Oh, wait a minute. You have 12 men on the field, which is exactly what Florida did last year and the year before. The special teams issues continue to happen. 10-second runoff, you don't score anything, and then game goes on. Whatever. So I mean, I'm just gonna skip to the end because that's really the thing. That's the part that matters. Okay, Tennessee didn't look good. Florida looked fine. Like, Florida looked okay. They didn't look great.
No.
Mertz gets injured. Montreal Johnson, their starting running back, gets injured,
yep.
which I guess is the code because that's exactly what happened to Arkansas too. Florida hits a 30-yard pass touchdown with 29 seconds left in the game. And I promise you this. You've never heard decibels go from being this loud to that quiet in that amount of time. I could drop a pin in that stadium. So what do you do there?
Let me, you know what? I'll present the options.
Okay.
And of what you do there. I'm head coach, decision maker of the Florida Gators. And I'll say what you can do in that situation. You're down 17-16 with 29 seconds left as a 14.5-point underdog to a ranked Tennessee team. Do you?
A top 10 Tennessee team.
At the time, number 8 ranked. By the way, they fell to number 11 after this win.
Insane.
Which should have been more, but the fact that they fell tells you what the AP poll thinks of this performance.
Yeah.
Do you, A, go for 2 and, try to win the game, or you lose the game, but at least you go try to win the game. Do not let it go to overtime. Or do you take the extra point?
Dude.
and play for overtime.
Dude.
You know what? Don't answer me as you. Answer me as head coach Billy Napier.
Well, we went out there and we liked the personnel we had. No, screw that. I'm going to take the extra point in Neyland. I'm going to take the extra point, go to overtime, call 4 horrible plays, and then have the ball punched down my throat.
Have a penalty.
Have a penalty, take a sack, miss a field goal, and then have them beat us. Dude, that is his make or break game. Make or break game. We talked about this.
Yep.
I've talked to so many people about this. This is the make or break game. He goes out there, he sets up on a 2-point formation, which is like a trick scheme play. And I'm like, yes, you're doing it. And dude, I'm telling you, I was there. The energy in that stadium when they watched that squad come out there in a 2-point formation, they were terrified.
They would have gotten it.
They were terrified. They would have gotten it. I would have bet money on it. I would have bet money on it. 3 yards to glory. 3 yards to glory. And you know what? Even if you don't get it, if you're in a decent enough play, and they make a great defensive stop, I'm not sitting here as animated as I am right now. And you know what? You might still have a job. At that point, donezo. Over. Done with. Can't do it. Dude, that team is so much better than you. I don't care. The personnel-wise, they're so much better than you. They're at home. They're number 8. Your starting quarterback and your starting running back are out. You've had injuries on the defensive side. Why would you give them the opportunity to stay on the field? They've been dude, it makes no sense. Napier's got to be done. It's over. It's over.
Listen,
it's over.
It is more than over.
It's so over.
The Florida football players, they won this game.
Billy
Napier, you lost this game, Billy Napier. You are the single most cooked man in America. Your job is beyond fried. It is over. You talked about some of the miscues in the first half. The 4th and 1 this is a DJ Lagway drive, who, again, anyone who is not tuned in to Florida Gators football, before Graham Mertz went down with the injury, the non-contact, which, by the way, torn ACL, was confirmed yesterday on Monday, that will end his college career, which is unfortunate. Obviously, it sucks for Graham Mertz, who was never the most talented guy in the world or anything like that.
No, but he gave his heart
to the program, and he played really good football in his 2 years.
He did.
He
didn't have to come back, and he did.
Yeah, he came back, and he played well. Yeah. So. And now DJ Lag will take over for the rest of the season. But before the injury, the past few games this season, it's been QB rotation where Lagway basically ends up playing like every 4th series or whatever, every 3rd series. It's like 3 series a game. So this was a DJ Lagway series. DJ Lagway, anyone unfamiliar, he's 18-year-old true freshman, 5-star best quarterback in the country in high school, best quarterback recruit, 238 pounds as an 18-year-old. Pretty big, but pretty huge. On 4th and 1, instead of, QB sneaking, run up the middle with your mammoth of a human being at QB, you run a jet sweep with Trey Wilson.
Dude.
That's the play. That's the play. But then, later on the goal line, you run a QB sneak with Graham Mertz, which Graham Mertz fumbles, and he shouldn't fumble, but what's the process on this? You run a jet sweep with Lagway in the game, but with Graham Mertz in the game, who is like 35 pounds lighter, you're like, yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to QB sneak it on the goal line. Yeah, okay, maybe put Lagway in and QB sneak it. I don't know,
go
dude.
Go up the middle. He just kind of fell to the right and dropped it.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And then, like you said, the 4th quarter, you get a miracle from Lagway and DK on that 27-yard touchdown with 29 seconds left. You're the underdog. You go for 2, like we talked about.
You have nothing to lose. You have 2 losses
literally
already.
Nothing to lose. You literally sold this fan base on scared money don't make money, and then turns out you're the scared money. You are scared money. The number 1 scared money human being on the planet. All your money is scared.
Your money terrified. Your money is terrified.
And actually, you know what? Maybe your money is the only thing that isn't scared. The only thing you're not scared about is your money, because you're waiting for that buyout get that bag.
Dude, he's done.
And not have to work.
He's done. And I again, at this point, the Florida administration is probably like, I don't know what we're supposed to do at this point. They'll probably just keep him until the end of the season, but it's immediately wraps.
The 12 men on the field. How can you come on a field goal at the end of the on the field goal at the end of the half? You have 12 men on the field. Like, that's so. By the way, the Gators have a special teams, Matt.
Yeah, dude.
To organize
it, and you
still get it wrong.
Also,
that's on Napier.
Also, it's a field goal. It is a field goal. It's the same guys every time. It should be the same guys every time. Now, it's not the same, maybe one or two.
It wasn't like a timeout, come on, field goal.
It doesn't matter. You know where you are.
Yeah, you know where you are. You know in that situation, because you don't have timeouts, that you're going to be probably kicking a field goal. You should have the guys ready. The 11 guys that need to be on the field for that field goal. The field goal unit should be ready because you know the situation. And they weren't. You have 12 guys. That's ridiculous. You have games against Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, who we just ragged on. But against Billy Napier, they're probably going to look invincible.
Yeah, they'll throw up a 75.
You have Kentucky this Saturday, who is trash, but who knows?
Dude, I have no faith.
I
have no faith.
That's all I have. I feel like we've rambled.
And then Florida State, which, still what? And Tennessee, you better be worried too.
Tennessee, you're not. You might be frauds. You have not been good at all in SEC play.
And Tennessee
and
Bama is
Alabama
be so
and Georgia
weird,
left.
Dude.
I don't know what's going on with the SEC. I don't know who's good, who's bad. I know Texas is the best team in the country.
Yep.
That's all I've got for you. That's all I've got for you from the SEC, because
Bama,
Georgia, LSU's good. Turns out, seems
good.
to be. Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee are gonna just eat each other up. Probably is what I'm assuming. The three of them is gonna.
I think Georgia's better than both of those.
Georgia
sure.
probably is, but that's
not even for sure, because they barely beat Kentucky.
And they lost to Alabama, which obviously we already talked about. Whatever, they lost to Alabama, but that second half was all Georgia outside of that Ryan Williams play. I don't even know. I really don't know what's going on in the SEC.
Next week will tell us a lot.
Next week is going to tell us a lot.
And also Texas, Georgia is this coming week.
Give me Texas. But, well, we're not there yet.
But that's insane.
That's going to be a prediction episode.
I'll be in Austin soon, too, so I'll give you a quick recap of how that goes.
There we go.
That'll be a little bit later.
All right. I feel like that's been enough time for the rundown.
Yep.
Let's head into a quick closing segment, which I'm excited for because I have more things to get off my chest. I'm sure you do, too. All right. That closing segment, or this closing segment that let's just, I'm like stumbling over myself because of how absurd this is. And I have a question for you. Could you argue that some guys might just be a bit too old to be good in college football? And yes, Cam Rising, if you're watching this, I am talking about you. What do you think?
College football, you need energy.
Mm-hmm.
You need, I think, the youthfulness of the quickness, the agility. And you're also still developing. You're kind of crazy. You're not going to be great. That's why we love this sport. That's why we come out here every day, twice a week, and talk about this sport. It's because we love that it's straight shots and it's firing and it's all this. And you can take damage and kind of be better from it. Cam Rising?
Not there.
What is going on?
I think I know what's going on, actually.
3 years ago, you were great.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, you were 22.
Were you a freshman?
No.
You were 22 years old.
College age. That's the trick. You just enlightened me with something you just said there about how college football players have, they're out there and they're all this crazy stuff has happened. You know what's wrong with Cam Rising? He's 25 years old. You know what happens when you turn 25? Your frontal lobe develops. He is not mentally. He's too mature.
He's too
for
mature.
College football. He's
not good at football too.
And I mean, let me just read the stat line. Yeah, put the hater shade. What am I doing? The hater shades need to go on. Because Cam Rising, you were 16 for 37 for 209 yards and 3 interceptions.
One of the worst stat lines I've ever read.
18-year-old
against Arizona State.
Against 18-year-old Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's brother, is better than you, dude. He's the best quarterback on this roster. And then it comes out today that you're hurt again. You have a leg injury.
That's indefinite.
Yeah, that's indefinite.
They put nothing else on it.
It's because you're old, dude. Your body is brittle.
And guess what that gives him?
And then Kyle Whittingham is like, oh, it's okay. He might be back for his 8th season next year because he can medically redshirt.
The NCAA needs to get that over with, done. Get him out.
Get him out. Cam, Mr. Rising. Grandpa Rising. I don't even know. Do not medically redshirt. We do not want to see you next year. Please. You will be what? Hold on. Let me look up his birthday. Will he be 26 years old next year? Let's. May. He's born in May. He would be. Dude, you'd be 26 years old. Let it go, dude. Just let it go. It's over. It is over.
Coach. Also, you're so fragile, man.
Dude, what is
this
going on?
week I got a hand injury. This week I got a headache.
Okay, hater shades off for the injuries. We don't hate on injuries.
We don't hate on injuries, but dude, there comes a point where your threshold hits it. I mean, we've seen so many players that are injury prone, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. And dude, when you're that old and you're taking hits from people whose frontal lobe isn't developed, and you're out there like, I'm so smart.
You don't have the recklessness to go, just make those plays. Dude, you're older than Bo Nix, dude.
Crazy.
Bo Nix, who's like. We talked about how old he was for Oregon.
Yeah, literally. We were making fun of Bo Nix for being old. And Bo Nix is like,
veteran.
I have an NFL contract salary.
Dude, are you older than... Hold on.
Dude, he's older than Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. He's older than Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's way older.
Way older.
But that's not... Those aren't even, like, the
those
shocking
ones aren't
guys.
even surprising names.
There's... God, who are you... You're older than... Yeah, you're older than Trevor Lawrence. Dude. You're older than Trevor Lawrence is in his fourth year in the NFL. Who are you? Wait. You are 2 years younger than Sam Darnold, who was drafted in 2018.
That's insane.
Bro, you're not even you're not 2 years older than him. You are June to May, you are 11 months. Yeah, you're a year older than him. I'll give you the year.
You're younger than him. You're a year younger than him.
You're younger than him. Yeah. I'll cut you some slack. I'll give you the year. It's 11 months. But, bro, Sam Darnold has been in the NFL since 2018. He's on his fourth team.
Dude, that's insane.
Like, what?
That's insane.
And by the way, Alan Bowman, you're just catching a straight here, buddy, because you're also old.
Dude, no.
You're also old.
You suck.
You suck. At least you were born in 2000, though.
At least you were so stupid.
At least you were born in 2000. Unlike Cameron, who was born in 1999. This dude was born in the 90s, playing college football.
Dude, that's insane.
Ridiculous. Against guys like Ryan Williams, 17-year-old.
Who can't vote. Who will not even vote in November. Well, I don't even know when his birthday is.
Ryan Williams probably looked up to you when he was younger. Coming up, he was like, wow, Utah quarterback Cam Rising. So exciting. He was 14 years old and you were 22 playing well. Anyways, that's it. That's all I have on my chest about you. You're ridiculous. Come on. Just give it up, dude.
You know what? I'm going to say something. We've been negative.
This has been a negative episode with good vibes, though.
Great vibes, by the way. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I feel great, though. But I want to real quick give it. I said we each should shout out a player. We've shouted out some players. We've shouted out some players. I'm gonna give two names.
Throw some names up there.
Which I've already talked about. Tyler Warren, Penn State. I don't know how you did all that. 17 receptions. That's insane. And then Evan Stewart. Evan Stewart is just such a great receiver, and he's such a great piece of that Oregon team. And man, like Texas A&M, like that's a brutal blow having him leave. Like that really sucks. But yeah, those two guys, they played fantastic. I loved watching both of them play too. USC's got to figure out how he got open on every single play. And Ashton Jeanty. I'll keep letting you. Yeah,
that's simple. I'm gonna give my two shout outs to two LSU players just because we didn't cover that game. Yeah. But first shout out, Kyron Lacey, 5 receptions, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, and
that's
just
insane.
The fact that you seem to be making waves on social media every week for your antics, I suppose, for being another, one from LSU.
Yep.
Another one in the pipeline.
Yep.
And then we talked about crazy stat lines. We talked about Drew Aller's 3 interception stat line. You want a crazy stat line? Garrett Nussmeier. You were 22 for 51. 22 for 51 for 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Dude, that's crazy.
And you won the game. Like, shout out to you. You won the game. I'm not gonna. And by the way, you won on one of those 3 touchdown passes to Kyron Lacey, who I just gave a shout out to. You guys connected in overtime to beat Ole Miss. So, yeah, you need a shout out just for that stat line. You might be the gold medal player of the weekend for that stat line. Even though, actually the gold medal player of the weekend is going to be, in Penn State. But whatever. Garrett, that's incredible stuff. That's why we love college football.
LSU, I'm keeping my eye on you. What are they at now in the rankings? Do you know?
They're 8th now. That loss to USC, man, and in week 1, we're in the first game of the season. Yikes!
That they really could have.
They could have and should have won.
And dude, I don't think USC is bad. They played Penn State really well.
Yeah, it was overtime, 33-30.
And dude, I think if Moss isn't turning the ball over like that, Aller was turning over more. But I think if Moss isn't having some of those turnovers, like I think
he threw that one pick,
like dude, like Yeah, they should have won that game.
They should have won.
And also, Brian Kelly, the way that you banged on that table in your press conference was so cringe.
Ridiculous.
But like, dude,
Fair
LSU,
enough.
like, dude, I am. You're climbing in the stocks. You're climbing in the stocks. So,
anyways, I feel like that was a good episode.
That was a good episode.
I'm happy
We're
about
back.
that one. We're so back. The energy. That's part of why the energy.
Yeah, that's why the energy's
we're
high.
back.
We gotta keep this going.
Yeah,
dude.
the energy is gonna be maintained.
Yeah.
And actually, we're gonna have to prove that to you, but that's okay because we get to do that on Friday with our preview episode for what will be another great weekend of college football. Do we have some games to talk about?
We have some games to talk about, and then even the one after that's going to be amazing too, because we're getting to talk about those games. And then I get to tell y'all about Norman, Oklahoma. If you've ever been out there, give a little insight. I mean, dude. And again, like this coming weekend will tell us a lot.
100%. We're getting to that part of the season.
We're getting to that
really
part of the
finding
season.
out about teams.
So you better stay tuned.
All right. That's all for this episode. And like I said, we'll see you on Friday. See you.